Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Ripple asks court to set this deadline for the filing of its cross-appeal brief in SEC case. And so, look, I don't think this is going to last, but you still have to go through the procedural things if you're Ripple, because right now the SEC actually is appealing the Judge Torres decision. Of course, given that we have the Trump administration is very pro-crypto, that's going to emanate from the top on down. I still firmly believe this thing is going to go away, but in the meantime, Ripple has to pretend like it's going to go on and there's going to ultimately be a final decision here, even though there's like no chance that's going to happen in my mind. But still, I want to cover what's happening here. And also, interestingly, take a look at this headline too, to piggyback off that. SEC gains new support in its appeal against Ripple. That's right. An organization has filed an amicus brief stating that their organization would be impacted by the decision in this appeal, and they're on the SEC side. But it's not going to surprise you when I get into why that indeed is. But we have analysis actually from Attorney Jeremy Hogan, on this exact topic. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Shout out and credit to Attorney James K. Filing for sharing this news as it broke. And I will just say this. And this is the reason that I was really looking forward to making this video, honestly, because I think we're all probably on the same page. Like, this is all going to go away, right? Okay. But then there's the question of timing, and I have perspective from another attorney in the XRP community, and you'll see in a second, but he's thinking this is going to go away, and I would say, based on what he's saying, it's probably going to be at a time where XRP is still in its bull run. It depends on how things line up, but there's a legit chance that could be the case. Rocket fuel, my friends. Anyway, so this first piece reads as follows. Legal counsel representing Ripple in its ongoing lawsuit against the SEC seeks to file its cross-appeal brief by mid-April. Ripple's lawyers made the request yesterday in a letter sent to Catherine O'Hagan Wolf, the clerk of the Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. According to the letter, Ripple wants the court to set April 16th, 2025 as the due date for the submission of its brief in the appeal and cross-appeal against the SEC. The counsel disclosed that two parties involved in the appeal, including Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and co-founder Chris Larson, support this request. Although Ripple made the request yesterday, it became public knowledge today following an update from James K. Filing. Right, and so that was literally just this morning. And so meanwhile, the upcoming brief relates to Ripple's cross-appeal. And recall that Ripple filed a cross-appeal shortly after the SEC indicated interest to appeal the company's legal victory. Right. So there was this post. Attorney Bill Morgan of the XRP community, he shared this news as well. And he simply said it will all be over by then. And again, the date here that Ripple's requesting is April 16th. Now, mind you, history kind of rhymes with itself. 4 years ago, XRP was hitting its peak for the cycle. It was in April. It was in the month of April. And so it doesn't mean for sure that that's exactly when it would be, but, you know, more or less around there would kind of make sense, right? And so that being the case here, I was like, huh. Because he said, you know, it'll be over by then. Okay, if that's the case, we're going to get some incredible news that could be a spark that lights the fire. You know what I mean? And so I responded to him, and I just said, you think the SEC will stop their appeal by then? I think that's close to Attorney Hogan's expectation. But if it really does end by April 16, 2025, then that will likely be during the XRP bull run fuel to the fire. And Attorney Morgan did respond to me, and he said, yes, I think the appeal and cross-appeal will end by agreement within the next 2 months. Whew. Well, he said 2 months. That would actually be March. Maybe he's just thinking because we're getting towards the end of January, that'd be close enough. And so I reposted what he shared there, and I said, legit chance the SEC/Ripple appeal could end during the XRP bull run. I suspect the market would respond. XRP chart analyst Dom responded to me, and he said, shaping up to possibly be the narrative for the next leg up, ? And I simply wrote, it could be. When Gensler announced he would resign on November 21st, 2024, the price of XRP jumped immediately, down to the minute. Now, of course, if it weren't that, the price of XRP would have rocketed anyway at some point, but the news did get people moving. Yeah, so the way I look at it is it's just one more thing. It's more headlines, more people perhaps being aware of what's happening with XRP than otherwise wouldn't. So if this news does break at a key time like that, it's just one more thing that would help. Now, regardless, I still firmly believe XRP hits a new all-time high, melts faces. But it all just kind of adds up, you know? And so Attorney Hogan, he thinks something kind of similar to this. This is somebody was asking Attorney Hogan, this was when, looks like it was January 3rd. What are the odds of Ripple/SEC case being dismissed, settled, or dropped by February? Attorney Hogan said, I'd say it's possible, but maybe unlikely. 40 days is not a lot of time to get reports together, memos, have the requisite SEC meetings, etc. I'm going with April/May as a likely time frame. So Attorney Hogan also thinks this goes away, April or May, but he acknowledges it could happen sooner than that. And so but this entire time period is when we should expect, based on history rhyming with itself, this is roughly when we should expect XRP to be hitting its cycle peak. And again, there's no guarantee. I'm just saying, if history is to rhyme, that this is it. This is that time period. Then we also have this. SEC gains new support in its appeal against Ripple. This is just so absurd. It's just amazing to me that these people are even wasting their time doing what they're doing here. Check this out. Better Markets, a nonprofit organization focusing on building a secure life for Americans, has filed an amicus brief supporting the SEC in the Ripple lawsuit. The company filed its brief yesterday in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. According to the brief, Better Markets faulted the district court's decision in the Ripple case, particularly the court's decision on programmatic sales of XRP. Okay, so the programmatic sales of XRP, that's just the label that's given to XRP selling Ripple selling its XRP on exchanges. Those are just known as programmatic sales. And then there would be people purchasing it, but they don't know where it was sourced from. So it's not like they're buying, they don't know that they're getting anything from Ripple specifically. It's just it's a blind, transaction. And so you might be like, well, what the hell is Better Markets? Well, here's their website, and this is their front page. Standing up to the crypto industry. Folks, they are the enemy of crypto. 100%. And so I poked around their website a little bit, and not surprisingly, they're a very left-leaning organization. So everything that they're trying to do in the realm of finance, it comes from that tilt. And as a result, no surprise that they happen to be anti-crypto. No surprise at all. In fact, the president of this organization, president and CEO of Better Markets, Dennis Kelleher, this won't surprise you, he was, what was his title? He was part of the Biden-Harris transition team in October 20, when Biden won that election several years ago. He was part of the transition team from October 2020 through January 2021. So that'll tell you all you need to know. And it's stupid, but you can predict whether or not somebody that's engaged in anything that's political, you can guess whether they're pro-crypto or anti-crypto based on whether or not they're a Democrat or a Republican. That's stupid. I don't like it. This should not be partisan. I bemoan that, but here we are. You could easily guess that that's typically the case. And if you just look at anybody in Congress, by the way, just look at actual voting records. Almost 100% of Democrats vote everything anti-crypto. And on the opposite side, on the Republican side, almost 100% of votes for anything that would be considered pro-crypto. Like, that's the way the Republicans are voting. It just is. Now, that's going to change as time passes. Crypto is here to stay. But unfortunately, the Democrats are being dragged kicking and screaming. Like that is unfortunately what's happening here. And so they're anti-crypto, and they decided to file an amicus brief in support of the SEC, those little asshat pricks over at the SEC. That's what they're doing with their time. And they're doing this, obviously, they can see that there's been a sea change. Trump's the president now. The country is now pro-crypto, and they're wasting time on this. They actually spent, some attorney's getting paid to write this, This is ridiculous. So here we have what Attorney Hogan's take on this. And Attorney Hogan wrote the following. Better Markets amicus brief was hard to read. Not because I don't think this case will ever be ruled on by the appellate court, but because it completely misses or misconstrues what the trial judge ruled. See excerpt below. The trial judge did not rule that sales of XRP on exchanges were not sales of securities because they didn't buy directly from Ripple. Instead, the judge ruled, and this is a quote, Ripple's programmatic sales were blind bid/ask transactions, and programmatic buyers could not have known if their payments of money went to Ripple or any other seller of XRP. End quote. Ripple won because purchasers didn't know whether they were buying from John Smith, Shen Chu, or Ripple, and therefore could not have been relying on the seller to increase the price. Folks, that's just very common sense stuff there. If you're buying a thing and you don't know where it's coming from, how then can you have an investment contract from whoever it came from? Like, how is that even possible? If it's just a blind bid situation, it's just complete. And then so what? But then if you're buying from Ripple and you don't know about it, and then you sell it to the next person, and they sell it to the next person, it's just this never-ending stream of illegal securities transactions. Well, as it turns out, that is what they're arguing. I poked through this thing. I didn't literally read the whole thing because at this point, what the hell is the freaking point? This whole thing's going to go away, but I did poke through it because I kind of wanted to kind of mock it a little bit. And so I did spend a little time rolling through it. That's effectively what it would be. And I remember Attorney Deaton making this argument that basically this is what the SEC was arguing, every single transaction, past, present, and future, throughout space and time, will all be considered illegal securities transactions. That's effectively what the SEC is arguing. That's what they argued, right? And so anyway, then Attorney Hogan says, and all that gobbledygook at the end of the quote above, that's references to the actual record of the case upon which the judge relied. Those are the facts that are being applied to the law. This brief doesn't tackle the main issue head on, and that is very frustrating. Better Markets doesn't like this application of the facts to the law, but instead of tackling either one directly, it simply argues that the result is not right, and the SEC won't be able to protect us from ourselves if this decision is upheld. Now, excuse me while I get back to watching the entire series of Gary Gensler's Office Hours for the 10th time. Ooh. I would be like, somebody shoot me. I'd rather than watch his Office Hour series. My God, I'm glad we don't have to watch another one of those ever again. What a bunch of, just a flaming pile of crap. Yeah, and that's the whole attitude. For the last several years, it's you're too stupid to put your own shirt on in the morning. Let daddy government protect you. That's effectively what this was. And of course, we here in crypto are like, no, if this is what you consider protecting, then just please stop protecting us. We're all good here. We're adults. We know that we're investing in the crypto space, which is considered kind of risky. We're doing it though. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm glad that we're not going to. The next 4 years for anybody in crypto are going to be purely magical. We will look back on this era with great fondness and reverence in the years to come. Imagine another decade or two, we'll be looking back. These will be the glory days. Everything going the correct way. And still so much opportunity. There's still barely any humans on the planet that have invested in the space. Almost no humans have ever bought XRP. It's just the tiniest little percentage of humans. There's so much opportunity. And now we don't have to worry about all of this nonsense, regulation by enforcement. All of that's over. Good times, everybody. I'm really happy that things went the way they did. I'll just say that. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.